Good evening, everyone. It's now the night of February 5th, 2013. This will be our February shop tour. This is the second in what will be a series of 12 monthly shop tours that I'm going to do through 2013 to kind of document what's going on in the shop. I'm still optimistic that it's going to be a very productive year for the shop and that I can accomplish a bit, including completion of the sheathing, the electric, and the floor at a minimum. That being said, as you'll see in a minute, we haven't done that much since our January shop tour. So let's start over here in the beginning. This is the front left corner where I started last time, and I'll probably start here all the time. So you can see here in the front is what I'm calling my work center, my ghetto work center boom arm. And I have another video about this that actually only goes as far as this boom arm, and I'll shoot some more about this when I get to it. But this is essentially my homemade version of the Festool Work Center, in that it controls the hose, holds tools, and where it all started for me was with this tray that goes right here that stops the saw from sliding off, because I always put the saw here when I'm in the middle of using it, and I was always afraid it was going to slide off the top of the sustainer and fall down. But if you want to learn more about that, you can check the posts that are dedicated to the Ghetto Work Center boom arm. But if you look behind there, you can see this small pile here. That's the remnants of my Treehouse tools. The Treehouse build is on a winter hiatus, so I've put away most of the tools, including the big compressor that was down here in the last shop tour. And I've narrowed it down to just mostly fasteners, and what's in those bags are other fasteners and Ticos and things like that, and some rope for it. So that's stuff for the Treehouse, and come springtime, I'll be right back at the Treehouse and hopefully finish it before summer's out. It's a bit of a slow build. As we come through here, here's my table saw as always. It's covered in crap like it is half the time. You've got the Ticos, not Ticos, excuse me, those are Tapcons. Tapcons for fastening down the floor. I haven't gotten to the floor yet. That's my dad's belt sander that I plan to use to do the floor. These are straps, thanks to Chris Wong for the idea. I'm going to use these straps for actually suspending the hose there rather than the tie rods that are on it, tie wraps that are on it. Under here, I've got my Fordham Professional Flexible Shaft Wood Shaving Kit. I've been really intrigued by sculpted work, especially Paul over at Canadian Woodworks, really turning me on in terms of the kinds of work he's doing and the sculpting he does on his pieces, so I'm eager to try it, though I'm not going to set that up until I finish what's in the shop now, which are a bunch of Boy Scout projects. But as we continue the tour, my joiner, my planer, my bandsaw, all here in front of my tool cabinets as they have been. Over here, the Bosch glide saw on its stand is out. Typically this stand is rotated and slid in tight up against that garbage pail, which wins me, you can see here, it wins me a bit more floor space. Typically it's about flush with the bandsaw here. So this is eating into my little bit of workable floor space a lot right now, but I've been using this saw to make the pieces for the birdhouses that I'm currently working on for the Cub Scouts. So you see here on the bench or the scraps from the birdhouse. You'll see where the actual birdhouse pieces are in a minute. I got to get that done. That was actually supposed to be done last Friday, but I was sick last week, and it is here on my bench, so that'll be the next project. Back there, the what is it? An ETS 150 case is off just because I was hanging it on the work center, so I got to just put that away. This void here is just where the miter saw here slides back into bunch of toolboxes. Nothing has changed back there since the last tour. Here on my bench, you'll see my drill press. This was out because we were working on Pinewood Derby cars, and we were kicking some ass in the Pinewood Derby. And to tune a Pinewood Derby car properly, you need a drill press, because you can use the drill press to drill out the axle holes so that they are perpendicular to the sides of the car and parallel with each other, and also you chuck the axles in there and you use that to polish them. And that's the key to winning, is polishing and weighing properly. Out here, you'll see some small changes in that what used to be two piles, one against the bench, has now been pushed into one, so I could free up the bench a little bit for making the cars. That's just all the MDF I plan to use for the next quilt rack I make, and there's some scrap 1/2-inch Baltic birch. There's a second piece of Baltic birch. It's a bit smaller now because I've been using it on the work center. As we come around this wall, there's my Domino XL with a bunch of parts on it. These are how I store a lot of fasteners. So this is flathead screws, there's panhead screws here, and screw bits in this case. Just a mess right now because my horizontal surfaces, i.e. my workbench, is covered in other stuff. So I put things anywhere I can right now. This back corner shows that most of the progress that's happened since the last tour. You can see since the last time we were out here, I have extended these window jambs, filled in the polyisocyanurate insulation and spray foam around this window. And in this corner, these short pieces that come up the side are all new also. So for the wall, the next thing I need to do is cut back the excess foam and then sheathe the wall. I'm going to sheathe this back wall first, and then I'm going to address the last piece of sheathing on the side wall, because I want the sheathing on the back wall to run in and the side wall to end onto the back wall, mostly because this way when I'm standing here in the main spot of viewing that corner, it'll hide the joint. I don't want to be staring into the joint the whole time. Just a, trim carpentry basic in terms of lapping your joints for minimal visibility. As we turn and come down this front wall of the house, you'll see that my piles here are a little bit smaller, but I still have the polyisocyanurate and these little pieces. I still need to do a little bit, you can't quite see it, but up there's a little pocket above the electrical thing I need to fill in, and you can see the header above the garage door there. I need to skin the inside of it with foam still too. So I have a little bit more insulating work to do, but the walls are ready to be sheathed at this point, which is a big milestone. Here you've got pieces for the benchmark table that I need to test out. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to test these benchmark accessories lately, and you see here's the benchmark miter saw stand. I have to test that also, but there's the benchmark table. To bring the benchmark table outside and set it up and give it a proper work through, I need it to be warm enough to be working outside. So unfortunately, this benchmark stuff's going to have to wait until it gets just a little bit warmer, and then I'll definitely be running it all through its paces. Here's some sheet good storage, scraps of walnut, my tracks from the Festool track saw. I have to find a permanent home for these in the garage. I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to do. I've seen guys who've put them on the back of the garage door or up above the garage door. That seems appealing, but I think I want them to rest vertically. So in this corner I'm going to have a vertical sheet good rack ultimately. I think I may hang them on the side of that rack, but that's down the road a ways. Here against the wall, that's my sheathing for the floor and the back wall. And for the floor, what I'm doing is I'm installing extruded polystyrene, and I've got some, I think it's 100 psi, it's high psi XPS, and then on top of that I'm going to throw down the tongue and groove OSB and use the Tapcons to screw them down into this concrete, and that's going to be my floor. So this is all the wood I need for the floor and for the back wall. Here on top of the wood, these are going to be birdhouses. Each one of these planks will make a single birdhouse. You can see as I go down, they've all been marked, and now I need to cut them on the lines and pre-drill them, and then the Cub Scouts will assemble them at our next den meeting. So I got to get that done and out of the shop, and then I can really start working on other things. The only other thing I skipped over is, if you look up here in the wood rack, these two, I think they're 2x10x10s, and they're acclimating now because they are going to come down here also on the floor, and they're going to act as the threshold to the floor. So they'll get installed directly on the concrete, and I'll bevel them and make almost a ramp up to the level of the OSB board. So that's the shop right now. Again, it's February 5th, 2013. This is the second of the shop tour videos.